What's going on, chat? How's everybody doing today? Happy Tuesday. Feels like the week's going kind of slow this week. But how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I got some tea for y'all today. Y'all gonna want to sit back, get comfortable. We got a lot of information to take in on the D4VD case. I got information from somebody who attended the court date, was there at court, and from what he said, very hectic in there. First of all, Celeste's parents, from what I heard, was in the courtroom allegedly. And I believe this video was from today or yesterday. We're gonna watch it in a second. And gotta be very careful about what you talk about in this case, because it's an underage girl and it's very graphic. So y'all bear with me. What's going on, Day Boogie? What's going on, Jennifer? So what I heard in the courtroom from this guy, and we're gonna hear more from him, the last moments of Celeste, what led up to the last moments of her, why it happened, and all that was talked about in court. But we're gonna have to make a part 2 because they had over 8,000 text messages sent between each other, and the judge, the prosecutor went over some of the text messages that they were writing to each other, and I'm gonna have to cover that in a whole nother video. But some of the stuff they were saying, let me tell you, hella graphic and disturbing. The dude D4VD is even crazier than I thought. So let me just tell you one thing. Like I said, her family was in the courtroom. They were sending nude photos of each other. Now, since she's underage, this is considered CP, that the people in the courtroom couldn't even see the photos that D4VD had in his phone. And he's also going to be charged with CP because of that. It's real disturbing. But anyways, let's hear a little bit about her last moments alive, what was said between them, and what happened. Since we've been covering this case, I want y'all to get a little feel of what went down in court. So like I said I heard it was very intense in there. Couple of journalists in there. We got my boy Trap Lord Ross right here on the screen. Shout outs to Trap Lord Ross as well. He's one of the journalists that went right to the courtroom. Took down notes because no cameras or nothing in there. So we're gonna start this one off right here, part 1. You ready, chat? We got the chat up. Shout out everybody in here. I see y'all. Drop those snakes, yeah. Alright, so everybody listen carefully. We're gonna try something a little different today. I'm on full screen today, as y'all see. If y'all rather have it the other way around and me be smaller and that on full screen, just let me know. But let's try this out. So y'all listen carefully to what he says. He's outside the courtroom right now. He just left from, whatever happened, and he's gonna explain everything. He's gonna get right to the beef, the meat and potatoes. Ready?
Beth Silverman.
Thank you for the subscription, Travis. All right, let's go, y'all. HD. If y'all want the caption off, just let me know.
the deputy district attorney, the main district attorney, as well as Celeste's family lawyer for the civil suit. So I've uploaded that video before this one, so you might have already seen that. Hopefully the audio is decent on that. We were kind of at a distance fighting to get sound, but I'm hoping that worked out for you guys. But basically, this is the gist of what went down today. I'm going to be really careful and a bit slower so I don't say anything that's going to get me in any trouble. But David came in court. He was in a chatty, decent mood. He was kind of cracking some jokes with the courtroom clerk and his lawyer about being really thirsty and he wanted some water. We saw him have a drink. I'm not gonna lie, there were a few sus people in court today. Few sus people, I was looking at them thinking, where are you from? Who are you supporting? What's going on with that?
Was what, me? I can't believe the man's in there cracking jokes. Like, that's the last thing I'd be doing in there.
But I didn't see anyone I recognized, that's for sure. Celeste's parents were in the courtroom today, and they were there when they were, you know, arguably just absolutely slandered by the defense team. They made some really bold accusations about the family, which I wasn't super happy to hear, but I'll explain it all to you now. So basically, they said that there were literally 8,000 or 9,000 texts from the last bit of testimony up until the day that Celeste was killed. That kind of really surprised me. They were texting thousands of times. But all right, are you ready for this?
What's going on, Dragonfly? All right, guys, it's about to get intense. Pay attention to what he's saying. So he's saying there was about 8,000 texts just between them. You guys are hearing alarm sound? Oh yeah, somebody subscribed. You didn't see it popped up on the screen? Every time somebody subscribes, donates, we gonna have monetization turn on soon so you can become a member, send super chats. But yeah, that was a subscription. Somebody subscribed. So, do I think he's guilty? Hell yeah. I said it since day one when she was found in his Tesla. It just don't make no sense. But anyways, listen to what he says on here.
Be really careful what I say, but
facts.
I do think that, to be honest, I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna read you some of these messages, but I'm gonna be really careful about how I say it and what I say it. But what I'm about to tell you is gonna blow your little mind. Asia, you're cooked. Asia's name came up, all right, and it was insane. We saw a text message from Celeste basically saying this. We'd heard this rumor for ages, and I talked about this rumor. And I'll be honest, I mentioned this in my earlier coverage when all these Reddit rumors were going around, and I actually felt bad for even saying this, but it turned out it's true. This supposed love triangle between David, Celeste, and Asia, it came up. They showed, Beth Silverman, the deputy district attorney, the sniper herself, showed text messages in court from April the 22nd, the day before Celeste was allegedly murdered. Celeste messaged David, said, but can you tell me why you want to be friends with Asia?
Listen to this, guys. You picking up what he's saying? April 22nd, the day she was unalived. So that means she was unalived when? April 23rd, the day after. So this must have been the main cause of what got D4VD pissed off. Now listen to what she was texting him and saying. Petty stuff.
Mental, all right? David replied.
Let me also add from the text and the stuff, you could tell they had a very toxic relationship, which is insane already at the age. And then it's abusive on top of that. I feel bad for this girl.
Basically saying she was a friend of his, and she apparently replied. We didn't see what David's response regarding Asia was. We didn't see that. We just saw Celeste basically being very jealous. Admittedly, she was clearly a jealous lover. You shouldn't be in love with a child that's... she got the maturity of a 14-year-old because she was a 14-year-old, all right? It's not really a surprise there. But basically, she then followed up and said, bro, just jump into her. There's no need for friendship. Keep her as an acquaintance like Lane Cooperstein or Rob Morganroth. So Asia, Lane, and Rob all came up in a back-to-back triple combo, which I could not believe. It was like the Avengers of despicable people who have acted like they had nothing to do with this.
You know who that is? Lane, Rob, that's his managers. So she just admitted conspiracy kind of that the managers know about her.
Well, Celeste knew who all three of you were. And she knew about your friendships. She said, just bump into her. Just bump into Asia. No need for friendships. Just keep her as an acquaintance like Lane or Rob. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? What on earth? So after that, we basically saw Celeste followed that up by saying, and you're really saying you'd end our friendship just to be friends with her, talking about Asia, over me. And then she said, that's disturbing and disgusting to me on a deeper level. So after that, David replied and said, when did I say I'd end my friendship with her for you? And then Celeste replied, someone who's known you for years over someone who knows you for 1 year, I didn't want to be friends with you if you still want to be friends with her. So Celeste was jealous of Asia. That's now been proven, okay? The day before David allegedly murdered her, she basically was kind of like going back and forth with David, calling him out. I'll admit, I don't know if Asia had knowledge of Celeste's feelings towards her. The jealousy, these allegations, I don't know to what extent.
Listen to this, chat. It starts to get even more crazier right here. She starts to say, because she's jealous of this Asia person, that she's going to make accounts, leak all they pictures of them, all they videos. Remember the pictures and the videos I was telling you that was on the phone earlier? You know, probably stuff like that. She said she was going to ruin his career, and she even said more crazier things. But granted, I don't think this is a need for him to put hands on her or do what he did, because it's a, like Trap said, a 13-year-old emotional girl that you had no business with.
Asia was aware, but Celeste was aware of Asia and she was jealous of her.
I also forgot to add that Celeste was pregnant.
And she was suspicious of David's relationship. She said, keep her as an acquaintance like Lane or Rob. She was aware of Lane. So this idea, people were talking about, there's a rumor going around that Celeste might have been staying with Lane when she wasn't at the main house with David. Rob was mentioned, so Celeste knows who Lane and Rob are. The fact that this little girl who David was messing with, that you're all going to deny having anything to do with, she knew who you lot were, that's damning, to be honest with you. So anyway, all right, as Celeste said, she said, oh, I've known you for years. You've only known Asia for 1 year. You should be friends with me. That was crazy. Celeste basically went on to say, why was she at your house then? And David was like, at my house when? She said the address of the other house. I guess he still had it. And David was like, oh, well, for Coachella, everybody came to get wristbands, so she came over for a reason, basically. There was a good reason that she came over. And this is where it got crazy, all right? I talked about this in a short earlier, but Celeste then threatened to kill David. I'll keep it real. Look, it's bad, it's damning, but that's what happened. So Celeste basically said, oh my effing God, I swear to God, I will kill you. She was in my seat. I think she's talking about maybe seeing Asia, like, sat in the seat of the Tesla that Celeste usually sits.
Now, like I said, this is all repeated notes he wrote down in the courtroom. So this is all facts right here, messages and stuff they extracted from the phone, the FBI and stuff. He's reading these notes he just wrote down in the courtroom about 20-30 minutes ago.
Or perhaps maybe there's a seat in the house that's usually reserved for Celeste that Asia was in, but she was jealous. She said, I will kill you, I will strangle you, and tell my dad so many lies and do so much damage to you and end your career. That's crazy, okay? Doesn't mean she deserves to die. This is a third.
All right, you heard what she said right there? Guys, I will unalive you. I will strangle you. Then I will tell my father about a bunch of lies and ruin your career. That's crazy.
13-year-old
It starts to get deep now, because we start to get around to where she starts to get, you know, set up or whatever.
How many 13-year-olds have said, I'm going to kill you before? This is a kid. So I don't care. A lot of people are now saying, oh my God, she threatened to kill him, self-defense. Nonsense. Ain't no self-defense. This was a kid. This is a kid that was just whiling out, talking rubbish, talking nonsense. Doesn't matter. Not self-defense. But obviously it was bad. But really that just says to me the lengths that David had actually pushed this minor to. She was so frustrated with him that she was talking about she wanted to kill him.
Kinda understandable. She's 13. She's mad. She's very emotional. You know what I mean? Probably could have been going through allegedly pregnancy symptoms at the time. He's chilling with another girl. She's like, I'll kill you if I see you with that girl. You know what I mean? Like, not really being serious, but, you know, saying that. They were very toxic, that's for sure. But
so she went on to basically say, she posted at your house, you weirdo. And then on the day of the murder, they continued talking to each other. They talked about seeing each other. He sent an Uber. David said to her, are you coming at 9 or is it too early or late for you? So
Here
I
it
said,
comes.
I can go whenever. David basically leaned forward and stared at the screen. While these messages were going on, David was locked in. Now, after that, Celeste said, what you mean, leave at 9 or get there at 9? David said, leave at 9. Celeste said, actually, yeah, or I can be in Riverside for it too if you want. She went on to say, by the way, is it chill if you get the Uber for me at 8:30? I'll be back in like Elsinore. It's hard to get Ubers there. And then later on, David said, so get it to your house or down.
The whole time when I'm listening to this story, I'm thinking, this dude D4VD is not so bright at all. Not to mention, allegedly, she was in the back of his Tesla, all that stuff. But on to her very last minute, he's over there texting her, sending her Ubers, telling her to come to the house. Like, they can't read your messages and retrieve it. Like, they can't see your GPS and her GPS. Like, come on, buddy.
On the street or
You
something.
was better off, I believe, breaking it off with her and just, you know, dealing with what happened.
And Celeste said, let me check. She sent him an address that I won't read to you. And she basically, David went on to say, why do I have to show you everything I get? And Celeste said, because you had your...
He woulda.
Because she didn't say this. I don't want to say it. I've got to be careful what I say. But she basically, to the effect, said, he said, why do I have to show you everything I get? And Celeste said, basically, because you made me, I was expecting because of you at a certain point. All right? So... after that, now this was interesting. Celeste kept calling David like queen and girl, and I think she was trolling him, and I think she low-key was like bullying him, like, you know what I'm saying, head under the arm, ruffling his head. Like, she was just like, she was dog walking him at some point. She was like, get my Uber, queen. Like, he was calling her, she was calling him queen, and low-key making a mockery of him. And I just thought that was quite funny, and she actually clearly had a sense of humor, and she was sort of still roasting this fool right to the bitter end. So
I wonder if that really got under his skin. Because this is the same day that she was, like, her last moments. This is her Uber to the house. Once she got to the house, allegedly he's saying she never got there. That's his defense or something. When the text says, gate open, door open. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get into that. But, yeah, he's calling her. She's saying, send me the Uber, queen. Then the last thing she goes, send the Uber, girly pop. What? Yeah, straight clowning him.
the address was shared. I won't tell you the address, but the address was the address. It was what it was.
Exactly.
And then basically they went back and forth. David saying 4 minutes, 1 minute, okay, he's there. And she's saying, okay. And then while she's in the car, as we heard before, basically, she was calling him queen. Then she said girly pop. She was calling him girly pop, which was hilarious. She said girly pop. I'm almost at your door if you're home. He replied, got you. Gate open, door unlocked. He didn't say I'm gonna open the door. He said gate open, door unlocked. Now that
look at him playing into it too. He's not even LOL, nothing. He's just like, got you. Door unlocked, gate open. Like a robot or some shit.
something that the defense were trying to rely on later, basically saying like, oh, you know, he didn't say he was there. He didn't even say that he was there. Like, how do you know he was there? He didn't even say that he was there. And it's like, gate open, door unlocked. Like, bruv, come on, he was there. And the cell tower suggested that he was in the vicinity of his own home. Mm-hmm. This is when the alleged lies begun.
They even
So
talked
this
to
is
the
when
Uber.
David basically said around 10:31 p.m. And here's the thing: she arrived to the car at 10. She arrived to his house allegedly at 10:10, and that's when David said gate open, door unlocked. All right, when she said I'm almost here, 7 minutes before that. And then at 10:33, all right, David says Uber said you're here. Where you're at? Hello, bro, Celeste. And after that last message from Celeste, where she said this is so sad, but the last thing she ever sent was girly pop. I'm almost at your door. Open if you're home. She never sends a message ever again in history. The girl never ever sent any message. That's the last message she ever sent.
Chad, do you hear how fried this dude D4VD is? So her last message was, I'm here, girly pop. And he says, gate open, door unlocked. But then 20 minutes later, he's replying to make it look good. Where are you, Celeste? Where are you, bro? Where are you? Then never texts her again for months. Does that make any damn sense? This guy is he's not over there in the head.
Sent in her whole life, all right? And you want to believe that because David's going, where are you at? Hello, bro, Celeste, where you at? And then she apparently, like, this is like 10:33, 10:36, and then There's no messages from Celeste ever after 11 p.m. And then basically, David then messages her at like 11:30, says, bro, blocking me? Hello? Bro?
So the last thing it was, she called him a girly pop. And they had that big argument about him chilling with Asia and her being super defensive.
I'm gonna call you, bro, you're scaring me. He was lying. So, allegedly. So then by 11:41, he's saying, dude, what the F? Where are you, please?
Yeah.
And then he never texts her ever again. She never sends a text ever again after that. It's over with at this point. It's completely over with at this point. So basically, the detective made it clear he reviewed the Uber records. The victim did arrive at the property at 10:10 p.m. And then at 11:30 p.m., and bear in mind he's texting while this is going on, but 11:30 p.m. his cell phone and his Tesla begin moving north towards Santa Barbara. So interestingly enough, okay, they revealed something that we already knew, but...
What's going on? Shout out to my boy, Mama That Raised Me. Y'all go follow him, check out his content. What's up, buddy? So y'all guys seeing what's going on? He said that like a half hour after she arrived or whatever, the Tesla starts moving. They picked up on the GPS. So now they're trying to say he went to bring, allegedly, the body somewhere to dismember or whatever. And they're saying he went to St. Barbara. I believe that's where he wrote the 14 on the rocks or whatever that said high upside down and all that BS.
Navan, the #1 rated business travel platform, lets your team...
It's almost up, guys. Oh yeah, I was just hearing a little bit about that Knowles case. I haven't got too much into it. I just seen a little bit of it, but I heard that they were calling Knowles' name right before the 911 call, because right when you call 911, it automatically records, and it was ringing, and they didn't know it automatically records, so they were screaming, Nolan, Nolan, and then you can hear somebody else said, he's dead, and then the operator's like, hello, and then everybody was quiet. But the phone records once you press the number 911 and it rings. That's a little tea for you. But check out the rest of the story, gang. They're driving to St. Barbara now.
Withered, which obviously is just a ridiculous name, considering what ended up happening. Now, it could have been a coincidence, or it could have indicated some premeditation. I'm not entirely sure, but at the end of the day, he basically had a bunch of album stuff to deal with after that. Funnily enough, actually, he had been at a meeting with Interscope that day about his album rollout.
That's exactly what my one of my reasons were before. That it happened right around when his albums was released, Withered, and then he made the deluxe Mars Ascensance, because both those words have to do with what's going on. You know, wither, and like a flower that's withered, and you still hold on to it. It's withering, you know what I mean? It's dying away.
Now, we ended up seeing all of these locations in his Tesla infotainment. He drove up to Santa Barbara, all of that kind of stuff. And this is where the cross-examination took place. So Blair took the stand, sorry, not took the stand, but Blair took the podium and begun continuing to question this detective who was continuing on from the previous day's testimony. And she basically got to blaming Celeste, painting David as a victim, painting David as somehow kind of like being a victim in all this. I'm going to get to it, but she painted out David to be such a bitch, and that David was basically like a victim in all this, and like he did what he's supposed to do kind of vibe that she was giving, and blame the family. So the first thing that Blair Burke said...
So this is pretty much David's defense. Check this out.
...was basically the first contact with David and Celeste on iMessage was August 2020, right? So that was confirmed. She said that was online text messaging, right? When did they first meet in person? They said they first met in person in November 2023. Right? They said first communication with Celeste. What was the first message? So apparently the first message, or within the first couple of messages that David and Celeste actually shared, Celeste asked David his age, and apparently he said 18. Now this is what's crazy, okay? And I would say that Beth Silverman looked a little bit flustered and a little bit like, just a little bit pissed off at this line, just this general line of questioning. I was pissed off too, because I feel like the line that you could see the avenues they were going down, and it was not pretty, it was not cool. So after that, all right, basically, there was kind of a back and forth, and Beth objected and said these are like random iMessages, these aren't the extraction from Cellbrite. And then Blair was basically telling the detective, didn't you review these messages? And he was like, oh, I can't really remember, I reviewed so many messages. He could only remember the ones that the prosecution had put in front of him. For a moment, it almost looked a little bit like, oh, okay, this is going to be a W in his favor. But then it's like the detective kind of was just locked in and started answering the questions, and it was like, cool, these are iMessage from David's, look, these are the Cellbrite. It was unclear to me, but basically there was a whole back and forth about where the detective was basically like, we got all these messages from a Cellbrite extraction. I can't remember all of them. If you're asking me about specific ones, you're going to have to show me. And then Blair basically produced a bunch of messages that were apparently sympathetic towards David, that she then showed the detective one by one, and Beth made sure to kind of like oversee that and make sure what was being shown was legit. But anyway, once we moved on to that, okay, they said in the first message between David and Celeste, where Celeste asked David his age, they said David told Celeste he was 17. And
listen to this, everybody, chat, because this part's important. This is their defense, and I guess they got the text messages to show that when he asked Celeste her age, she said 17 or something.
The detective was like, well, I don't remember. He might have.
She said 17 on the text.
They said, well, you admitted Friday that when they first spoke, he was 17. So the first thing they were going for was like this thing that like he was a minor. So I'm going to lean up against.
I find it hard to believe that they didn't talk in FaceTime, a call phone, or something else besides text, and she told him his real age.
Against this, I think it'll be more comfortable. You can just jump in there. Thank you. So like this idea that like, oh, he was a minor too, that was sort of how they were framing it to begin with, to say when they first spoke he was 17 too. After that, they basically talked about their birthdays. They kind of went back and forth about all the details. They identified David's birthday. It was weird. I don't know if this was a mistake, but I'm pretty sure they said David's birthday was March the 5th, 2005. And I thought I read on Google it was March the 28th. Maybe Google's wrong. I'm more inclined to believe his lawyer, or maybe she misspoke. But anyway, they said, fair to say, out of hundreds of messages you reviewed, you focused on their ages, right? Because when the previous testimony was being given, we constantly heard Beth Silverman pausing and saying, and just remind us, how old was Celeste and David during these messages? And it was always, she's 13, he's 18, over and over and over and over and over again, okay? So from there, basically they said you looked at tens, hundreds, thousands of messages, hundreds of thousands of messages, and you focused in what was said. So they said, on the first message they ever spoke, David told Celeste he was 17, and what did Celeste reply? And this was a bit of a bombshell. David said he was 17, Celeste said, I'm 16. Now, Beth objected to that. There was a little bit of tension. Blair had to rephrase the same question, but she got the same answer, yes. Okay. So when they first spoke, admittedly, all right, and this worked in David's favor, David was 17, and Celeste had said she was 16. Now, they claimed that over the course of 2022-2023, Celeste actually changed her story and told David that she was 18. Now, after that, okay, Blair would introduce various messages that actually came from the 22nd of April, 2025, the day before the alleged murder. So basically, she kind of established when they first started talking, they were both minors. All right, fine.
Show us the messages then where she said she was 18.
And that she had lied about her age. Okay, fine. Doesn't change the fact this is a statutory offence. She could say she's 80 years old. It doesn't matter, because if you abused her and you did the business, you are a criminal. There is no... I thought that it doesn't need malice or intent from what I understand for these charges. But anyway, from there, okay, Blair Burke would introduce a bunch of messages that were apparently sent either basically the day before they ended up meeting up. And this was pretty crazy, okay? They reviewed that same message that we'd already heard.
That man's heartless to be talking to her hot conversation on the phone like nothing's wrong, and the whole time he's got in the back of the head what he's gonna do. That's just crazy.
From the prosecution where Celeste had said, oh my God, I'll kill you, I'll strangle you to death, I'll tell my dad so many lies, I'll injure your career, life, and damage you. Now,
apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt.
He tried to scare his ass with that. But like I was saying, I think he'd be in a way better position if he would just, you know, not have did anything, admitted his wrongs. Yeah, I you know, whether she said she was 17 or not, or whether she was underage. Yeah, that's what I did. You know what I mean? You would still be at least out to enjoy your life.
So after that, I can't actually tell you this message.
This girl would have her life.
She said, I will straight up mutilate something of David's that's very sensitive. That's all I'm going to say. So basically, David replied. He
Dragonfly, she said she's gonna Lorena Bob at him. Oh shit, she crazy too.
said, "You've turned this into a bigger thing than
Nah,
this
no
conversation."
offense, rest in
And now,
peace.
I'm not going to lie to you, it wasn't really even brought attention to, but that sentence was very ominous to me, and I felt like that was a
Exactly, and the private investigator, Steve Fisher, who I showed in my previous videos, the house owner who rented the house to D4VD because I was in his house, hired a private investigator. He found out D4VD allegedly with pictures of 2 more underage girls before Celeste. So he had a habit of this. Then we got pictures of him giving tickets out near high schools. This man was weird. He left, like, now that I see that, you really left all these clues and saying her name in the song and, you know, and doing the shit in videos and you actually did the shit, bro.
message where he decided to kill her. That's just my opinion, right? Allegedly. But David replied when she said she would mutilate part of him. David said, "You've turned this into a bigger thing than this conversation." What bigger thing? What? Murder? Violence? I think that's when he decided, but you guys be the judge of that.
You hear Trap? He said he thinks that's when he decided to. When she said that, he said she was gonna cut off his winky.
Mutilate something of David's that's very sensitive. That's all I'm going to say. So basically, David replied. He said, "You've turned this into a bigger thing than this conversation." And now, I'm not going to lie to you, it wasn't really even brought attention to, but that sentence was very ominous to me, and I felt like that was the message where he decided to kill her. That's just my opinion, right? Allegedly. But David replied when she said she would mutilate part of him. David said, "You've turned this into a bigger thing than this conversation." What bigger thing? What? Murder? Violence? I think that's when he decided, but you guys be the judge of that. And obviously the jury will really be the judge of that as well as the judge. But anyway, I digress. David says, "This is how it goes with you. You have to find out after the fact that you do not listen to me." That didn't really make sense to me.
Right.
But anyway, Celeste replied, said, "Nuh-uh, I don't even play like that. I'll dead go to Val's door on some crazy shit."
And they got R. Kelly in there rotting, doing him dirty, over ODing him on his meds allegedly, contaminating his food.
And crying. Now, anyway, we'll go. I'll just move on from there, okay? You can do your own research. And then Blair basically went on to say there were 1,200 messages that were sent between Celeste and David on the 2 days before the murder. David basically said, why do you think you proved..."
So, y'all guys stay tuned. Maybe later today, I'm going to drop part 2, where I have another guy that was in the courtroom, and he heard one of the prosecutors, you know, read most of the messages that were sent around those days and some days prior that's relevant to the case. And ooh-wee, those messages something, y'all.
My exact point. Celeste said, "You have one more chance to tell me the truth." She said, "Tell me the truth, David. I need to see you tonight. Tell me the truth." Now, bear in mind, the context of this all started, they're talking about Asia. So I don't know if this was other girls, if it's specifically about Asia. I don't know what was going on with that. But basically, it was like, you need to tell me the truth. You need to tell me what's going on. Now, a little bit of time passes. David said, So, okay, David said, "How are you going to feel distant? How are you going to say you feel distant? You pushed me away from the start of the year." Celeste said, "If I see you and Asia hanging out, I'll make an anonymous account leaking all of the stuff I have on you." Again,
How many times did she repeat that? I
don't
feel
think
like
she
he
deserved to
said
die,
that
but
3
she was
times.
cooking him. She was ready to expose him. She made it very clear that just because someone's going to expose you for being a PDF-related file, you don't have the right to kill them. That's no self-defense. This just provided a motive, and I personally feel like accidentally Blair Burke actually provided a lot of ammunition and motive.
So Trap said
Because
that's the
realistically
motive
reading
right
that, it's
there.
kind of like, well, it sounds like she gave him no choice, but as far as he was thinking about it, from the perspective of someone willing to...
Now remember what I said, the pictures that they showed in the court earlier, I'm going to show in the part 2, they couldn't even show the pictures in the courtroom because it was considered CP. You know what I mean? And it was an offense. So they couldn't even show most of the pictures, you know what I'm saying? It was insane.
To protect their career and finances.
I don't know why they were sending that back and forth.
She had taken it there, so he was willing to take it there. Anyway, she basically, Celeste continued threatening him. It was crazy. She said, "And I have all the old numbers from my phone printed out, including your mum, so I can contact her if anything."
Ooh, she's
Oh
really
no,
getting
sorry,
under
I can
his
contact her
skin.
anytime, lol. David said okay with a laughing emoji. And then she went on to say, I also have somebody's fiance on my phone, so I could text her, it will spread to your work.
Who do you guys think that is? We never found out who that was, and Trap says he don't know who that is, or he don't want to say who that is. She said, I also have somebody's fiance in my phone I can text. Let's check it
I
out.
don't know who that was. Well, I heard the name. It wasn't a name I'd ever heard before. I'm not going to say whom, but yeah. So Celeste said she had.
If he don't know the
David said
name, leave
okay
him.
with a laughing emoji, and then she went on to say, I also have somebody's fiance on my phone, so I could text her. It will spread to your work girl. I don't know who that was. Well, I heard the name. It wasn't a name I'd ever heard before. I'm not going to say whom, but
Work girl.
yeah. So Celeste said she had spread to your work girl. So really it sounds like she had connections and phone numbers and contacts to the people involved in his career. So basically, apparently there were threats constantly back and forth. Blair basically said there were hundreds and thousands of texts between them, a lot of threats, a whole bunch of Celeste basically making threats. And Blair basically pointed out of the hundreds and the thousands of texts, did Celeste ever say specifically about participating in a criminal prosecution? And the detective admitted she never talked about testifying or taking it to the cops. She just talked about taking it public. Now, we found out at the end when the judge made the ruling that doesn't frickin' matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be take it to the cops. It can just be, I'm going to expose you. That was enough for the special circumstances. The cops would have liked her to be a witness, but it doesn't mean that they needed an investigation or for her to willingly be saying, I'm going to testify in this upcoming trial that hasn't happened yet. Okay? So that didn't help. But that was one of the many straws they can continue to clutch at. So after that, basically, like, Blair said, just reiterated, like, she threatened to kill him, to call his mom, to leak stuff, threaten him, but she never once mentioned going to the police. Now, the last threat apparently came. I don't know if this was a threat, but anyway, David has said, "I know you ended the." David basically
And
said, "I know you
also,
ended the
some
friendship like
people,
10."
like I said, you know, he was better off just leaving it as this and walking away. Some people, like you mentioned, R. Kelly, they've gotten away dozens of times by paying their victims off. He ain't even tried to offer her and her family $1 million or anything yet. You know what I'm saying? Here, sign this NDA, $1 million. Not saying that's the right thing to do, but that feels like what a lot of these celebrities do and stuff to, you know, get away from what they did. Is they pay the person to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Right or wrong? That's why I'm like, this dude got no brains.
10 times, and then David said, when are you coming to mine?
Yeah, exactly. The state would have picked it up if it hit the internet, but that's why you're supposed to catch it before it hits the internet. So he gotta say, you know, this isn't working out. I'm gonna give you $1 million only if you walk away right now and you don't leak this. If not, you gonna leak this and you ain't gonna get nothing. And he could have tried it like that. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people Michael Jackson paid off? You know how many people R. Kelly paid off? And the mothers of the kids were telling them to take the money, which is crazy. Because there was so much money at the time.
Dude,
And there was rumors how the parents were setting Michael up because he had so much money that they just wanted to sue him for him to settle and, you know, not take it to court.
be hungry at the end of the day. She says, sure, what kind, girl? So she's still roasting him, calling him girl and shit, which is quite funny. She's like, yeah, what time, girl? What kind, what kind,
Sorry
girl?
to
What
stop
kind of
the
food?
video, but
And David,
with Diddy, you know the Diddy case, I heard Diddy didn't want to pay Cassie and he kept delaying it, and that's how Cassie ended up coming out with the whole thing. Yeah, you don't want to pay, then we're gonna go and take this not civil, we're gonna do this lawful now, you know. Exactly, so it would have been hard for her to walk away, but allegedly she already aborted the kid during all this already. April 22nd, 3rd, it was gone already.
said In and Out and she said K, and they tried to present this like, look, he wouldn't murder her.
But she
He
did it
offered
for
her
him.
In and Out. You couldn't possibly give someone an In and Out to, you know, entice them into a sense of security and then murder them. Surely not, right? That was absurd. Like the idea that, like, look, come on, man. Like, if I'm gonna go and catch a body, as long as I buy someone In and Out beforehand, I guess that's just fine. That's just fair play.
But you're right. No girl really is gonna walk away unless you're real smart of a man that they're crazy in love with. You see the dumb stuff she's saying and doing for money. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna see him as the money.
But from
anyway.
there, Blair basically went on to say, this is where she started putting the blame on the family, and I really didn't like this. And to be honest, this made me think, oh, okay, so that message that was going around yesterday that was supposedly from a neighbor, that probably had been
you should have did it because you're freaking adult.
With coordination from the defense, because suddenly a lot of things in that neighbor's message matched up with things that Blair was saying that nobody should have known about. And I'm still skeptical. A lot of people are going to be coming out of this hearing saying, oh, see, the family knew, the family were in on it. I still think what they said about the family
he could have did it too. Like, all right, now I'm getting older, you know what I'm saying? Before she said she was 17, whatever, that was the first messages. All right, it's time to call it off. You know what I mean? Offer the mom money, whatever, settlement. Boom. Signed the NDA. He didn't even want to try that. Yeah, and it's crazy because that might be the case, because what'd he do afterwards? He didn't be quiet about it. He made music about it. He's flashing a knife on his Instagram pictures afterwards. And everybody's connecting these dots with Celeste. Dude's brainless.
I'll tell you what they said, and then I'll tell you why I think it's BS. Blair basically asked the detectives, David was known to Celeste's family, right? He said, yeah. They said after the missing persons report, Celeste's parents allowed Celeste to live away from home in May 2024 with her aunt in the same city that David lived in, and the detective said yes. Now, I thought that was a very clever misdirection. She tried, the way she worded it, tried to make it seem like, see, she let David go and live in she let Celeste go and live in Los Angeles with David, right? That was the way she worded it. She let him go live in Los Angeles where David lived with her aunt. It was almost like playing shuffle with certain words.
Now, Dave Boogie, I'm going to speak on that too on my next video. I was going to say that earlier, but I didn't. Allegedly, I also heard there might have been more than one child. Now, this is allegedly. I know there was at least one. And we'll get into that in the next video.
Because just because she went to live in Los Angeles with her aunt doesn't mean that she was given permission to live with David. Permission to live in the same city with David when this girl's been sneaking out, lying to the parents for years, getting secret cell phones they don't know about. They're trying to make it seem like the parents signed a permission slip for their minor daughter to go and live with David, and that is not true. That is misinformation, and the way that it was spun, I think, is out of line. So really, they said that Celeste, for whatever unrelated reasons, they didn't say why, they didn't say it had anything to do with David, but Celeste went to live with her auntie in the Los Angeles County area. Not Hollywood, not West Hollywood, not in the vicinity of David's house, not in David's house. She was living with her auntie in the Los Angeles County area. That's a big area, okay? But everybody is going to now put that out there and say, see, the family...
And the auntie's like, yeah, go screw.
Said that she could go and live with David. Not true. But I could see what she was doing. And look, fair play to Blair. She's doing the best she can with a bad situation to try and give the man a defense, which everyone deserves a defense at the end of the day, even though this guy looks to me to be a monster. But at the end of the day, everyone deserves a defense. So I think that what actually ended up happening after that was...
If you're struggling with depression and not feeling the comfort and peace that you need, I invite you to meet with missionaries like me from the church.
I actually wanted to do a quick dive in David's Instagram since I got it up now. Maybe see what's his last videos around this date, April 23rd. I always wondered. When was it, guys? April 8th. Is this the girl Asia right here? Let me see. Album done July. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So that was afterwards. What day was it again, chat? Exactly? Oh, yeah, April, right? April 23rd or something, alright. Oh, it's right around when he made the shirt. February. April 10. They did talk about Coachella. April 24th. That's when he got his Fortnite skin. He started doing the 6-7 thing. April 25th. What day was she gone? Day before this, she was gone, chat. Yeah. Oh, there's so much stuff I know. Look, guys, this is a day after she passed. Withered, David's new album in Conquest, current state of being. In Conquest, current state of being. People are dissing him now. Look at what they said, guys. Take it to your grave. Day after her. Like I told y'all. Day after she was unalive. Guilty as hell. He probably told the whole story in this thing, too. Take this down, everybody's saying. Let's see what else he posted. He's around Jason the Ween, right around that time. Alright, this is another day after. This Kid album is finally out. I can't even believe it. Welcome to Withered. What's he talking like he's a Tommy or something? Third party? Imagine that. Houston, that was the best show ever. Are you kidding me? Thank you so much. I can't believe it, bro. I love you guys so much. Oh, this you got a couple of pictures. It's like didn't he cry? He did cry, right? Let me see. We gotta go down more, right? Yeah. Alright, I see right here, April. Oh, let's go right before it happens. My first Coachella was fun. Thank you. That's when he fell on the backflip, too. So this is April 20th. This is 3 days before this happened. Is this the girl possibly that she was texting? Oh, why you keep hanging with her? Let me see if we can find her name. Because remember, that was a day prior. This is when he falls. That's about it, guys. How about David's closet? What's he got in his other page, his second page? August. It's gonna be right around here. August. April, right? So this is April 26th right here. He does perform. He does cry, guys. Look. He cried after performing his show. April 26th, he posted this. So this is 2 days after he did what he did to her. And he's crying after his performance. The only time we ever seen him cry. And some people in the comments, I remember they would, taking a needle in a haystack saying, oh, maybe it was right after this and he's crying. Whoever said that was right. Check this, gang. I will get flagged. But David cries after performing Afterlife. Struggle to continue after singing the word bleeding, somebody said. Somebody else said looks very nervous. Now that he's in jail, he's all by himself to think what he has done because all of the fun. Hold on, guys. Let's blow this up a little. Wow. Better, gang. There we go. How's that, gang? Man. I forgot I had the chat up, too. What's going on, chat? Yeah, we're gonna find out in a second who it is. Oh, Dave Boogie, I thought I gave you a wrench already. I don't know what happened. Let me give it to you back. So he cries in this song. See, now we pulling out clues. 2 days after. April 23rd, 2025 it happened. Alright, what else? David's Closet, huh? Wizard. April 24th right here, guys. This is what? The same exact day. Oh, he did a lot of posts right here. Let's check. You see this? Somebody said that he had a cut on his hand. I was reading this in the comments. Don't know if it's true or not. He had a cut on his hand and he drew that to make it look like a tattoo or something. I think it's like a red mark in the middle too. I hope you get DP. They talking about jail. Oh my god, look what he's doing. Look at this, April 23rd. That's creepy. Is this the day that it happened or was it the 24th? This the exact day she passed away. He posted this. David relaunched. So he relaunched it. So he launched it before in February, I'm assuming. Then he relaunched the t-shirts again in April. So is it possible that he could have remade it with a little tad bit of blood like some people was assumed? That'd be freaking disturbing. But I find it weird how right on the same day it says it relaunched custom Tommy bloody shirts for the foreheads community. They need to do some investigation. Look at what somebody said, chat. See, I've been doing this shit for too long, y'all. I can read people just looking at him. Look what this dude said, guys. Look at the date this was posted. Isn't this so creepy? Did I not just say this, chat? Yup, a Tommy with the 4 in it for the forehead. And the 764, allegedly. And you know what a Tommy means? Pain in Japanese. Wow, so somebody really said the same shit as me. Look at this, chat. Look at the date this was posted. He messaged Sloan Hooks, another YouTube creator. Like Sloan Hooks is gonna pick up on that. He ain't Big Slime. Girl, imagine if he used... What? Only way to know if he used... Oh, that's what they're saying. Look what they're saying, guys. Then another thing I just said, chat. The only way to know if he used real blood is to look to see if the shirt is still red. I'm not talking about, oh, it's washed out a bit. Like, look at the color. It's a very darker red than you remember, or brown. Does it feel stiff in certain clusters? Well, it depends how much he added, to be honest. You know what's crazy, guys? I don't want to say too much, like I was saying in the beginning of this video, but don't forget, they allegedly found it. Unused chainsaw in his house, the burn cage, a bunch of tools I didn't even get into yet. We'll get into on the next video. Crazy shit, this guy. But yeah, like somebody else noticed, he posted this relaunch the same day she passed away. So y'all note that it was April 24th. Alright? Where'd the picture go? April 21, look what he's with. It's impossible now. Okay, let's see what he was arguing. Look at his backflips. Swoop. Let me see. 23. Tomorrow is the big day. He put that on the 23rd. Look at the comments. Why is tomorrow the big day, David? April 21. Alright, let's go. April 24th, guys. This is the video in the trunk. He released that April 24th too? Or he reposted it? Look at this shit. What the? And look around the time he made this song. Obviously, he had same piercings. Look at what it says, guys. Oh, it's true. April 24th. Somebody wrote the day he unalived Celeste. That's insane, huh? Yep, that's what they say, Cash. He used an inflatable pool. We're gonna get more into it in the next video. But he used his inflatable pool thinking nothing was gonna get on the floor when he had porcelain tiles in his garage, which is the worst to use to stain anything on. So they found a bunch of DNA in the garage. I'm not sure, but he re-released it on the same day, so and he might have made the video. Somebody else said the day he unalived her. The album's out tonight. So look, he didn't even drop the album yet. The album's out tonight, 9 p.m. And my like motto was always too, like it had to be right before the albums if the albums relate to her and the songs. But I didn't think it was that close right before.
Yo.
Reading his text. I'm trying to see if this girl ages anywhere too around this time. Right here. It's same day right here. Somebody said wearing his confession on his back. There's all the pictures right here. Alright. He posted a lot on the 24th. 24. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Hold on, there's a bunch of pictures on this. Yeah, nothing really interesting, I guess. April 25th, this is the day after. Is this really love? Yeah, these are all a few days after right here. Damn, somebody said all the songs is about 11-year-olds. So this is after it already happened. You see, now he's promoting the songs, the CDs. I'm trying to see if Asia comes in the scene or anything. More women definitely do start coming on the scene, you notice. He starts working with more women. Look at this.
I did.
What's the last time you crashed out?
I was probably on Fortnite. I was playing solo squad. I got a call. My mom was calling me because I made a big charge, and she thought that it wasn't me, and she kept spamming my phone. I was playing the game. I was like, yo, I'm not trying to do that. So I'm answering the phone. I'm like, yo, that was me. Don't cancel my card. She tried to cancel my card, and then I lost the game. I started banging on the table. I started throwing controllers.
Are there any edits of your crash outs on, like...
You could probably find some on Twitch.
You just released a song called Crashing.
I did.
What's the last time you crashed out?
I was probably on Fortnite.
Alright, y'all. I'm also in his chat, but I can't see it on desktop for some reason. I can only see it on my phone. I wonder what he's like the messages he posted in there. You know what I'm saying? He got about there was 100,000 people in there. But you can only see it on your phone for some reason. Yup, exactly. It's the truth. That's what somebody said in the comments. And that's why you see, and that's why it was like my motto. It must have happened, because I was trying to find out when it happened. January, Valentine's. Then I'm like, alright, he went on tour around August after that. You know what I mean? Then he dropped his albums, then the deluxe. Then he started promoting his music, so it must have been a little before that if these songs are about her and, you know, stuff like that. He even got her on the interlude, allegedly. Some person, he says in an interview. I can't say who it is, but just know it's somebody special. Y'all probably know what song I'm talking about. But anyways, chat, I'm gonna lock this in right here. We about an hour in. everybody do me a favor. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me. Also, I'm gonna make part 2 later tonight. If not tonight, probably in the morning, but we aiming for tonight, chat. Peace out. Like this video. Share this video. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everybody, for the support. So, what y'all think? Guilty or innocent? You think he's gonna beat it? Somebody said. Yep, part 2. We got tons of messages. Crazy messages. You won't believe it till you see it. Yeah, I don't think he's beating this one. He was literally in his trunk. That was the only detail I know. I made a video the first time I found that out, and I was like, he's guilty. If they found a person in my trunk, I'd be in jail until I could prove myself innocent. And that should be to anybody. Because there's so much, what do they call it? Circumstantial evidence. Saying, you know, it's your car, it's registered to you, it's insured. There's a police report, she ran away and went to your house. You know what I'm saying? You was the last person with her. You gotta, prove you're innocent, bro. Whose name was it in? Then he put the house in his mom's name right after he got charged. I don't know if that's gonna work or not. Whose name was the car in? I could have swore it was his. That's why he blew it, like, his name got on fire like it did. And then what did they say? David's Tesla. They didn't say the manager's Tesla or nobody else's Tesla. Yeah, that's who I'm saying. Who else would I be talking about? Who else's name would it be in? Thank you, Jennifer. Cash, who else would I be talking about? I said the body was found in his car. But anyways, yeah, then he goes on tour, leaves it there. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, but it ain't. Peace out, Dragonfly. Everybody, y'all stay cool. Y'all see I just took my shirt off. Got hot as a bee in here. But anyways, y'all, I'm gonna go get some air. Probably go outside or something. Y'all enjoy y'all Tuesday night, everybody. Be safe, have fun. We're coming with more updates and more news later. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. Peace out, slimes.